Well, Jenna and I wanted to take some time to give a recap of our trip to Ireland because it wouldn't have been possible without all of your support, with all of your prayers, all of your financial giving. And so I just wanted to kind of take you through what the trip was like. And so it started on the Sunday, Mother's Day. We all gathered at Roberts Wesleyan College, got together and with parents and students and prayed, did a circle of prayer, and then it was on the bus and headed on our way across the border to go to the Toronto airport. And we flew for hours and hours, and Dublin is 5 hours ahead of us. So when we landed in Dublin the next morning, it was time to hit the road. So as soon as we got there, even though it was 3:30 in the morning Rochester time, we went for it. And so we hit the streets of Dublin. We did a little bit of sightseeing in the city just to get oriented to it. It's such an incredible historical city with all sorts of old churches and things to explore, and just unbelievably beautiful. And so after we explored for a couple hours, it was time to go to the after-school program called Just Ask. And that's a program where all of these kids that are from rough backgrounds and don't really have a support system to help them with their homework, we provide games and we gave them a chance to ask questions about their homework. And then we also take time to treat it as a little church service. We teach them music and did some motions, did some skits and things like that, just to give them the message of the gospel. So that was the end of our first day, and as you can imagine, we went to bed that night and slept very well. But the next day it was time to go into phase 2, which was the physical labor part. We did a lot of physical labor on this trip, and this project was really fun, really satisfying, because we got to see how it impacted somebody firsthand. We went to a gentleman's home in the outskirts of Dublin and basically gave him a total renovation and makeover of his backyard. See, Brenner had lost his wife. She had passed away on Christmas morning, and he's got 3 young kids, and his health is failing. Not an old guy, but had a background with drugs and addiction, and came to the Lord and is just struggling. So a lot of the people in Dublin, they can't afford trash removal, and so they've got these long strips of a backyard with concrete on both sides. The only way to get to them is to actually go through the house. So we went through there and went to town. It was unbelievable how much trash was back there, but we were able to remove it by going through the house, putting it in a dumpster that we had bought for the couple days, and just got the whole thing cleared out. And then we were able to cut down a tree in the back. We dug a wall through the back so that we could put a gate across. We built a garden, we built a path, we built a little runway for his dog, and just totally redid that backyard so that it can be a place that they enjoy, and that the kids can have fun in, that the dog can have fun in, and Brenner can just kind of take a load off and know that there's a place for his family to just relax and take a break from the roughness of everyday life. So after we worked on that project for a couple of days, it was time to really get outside of Dublin, about an hour into the countryside, and we went to a place that's known as Drewstown House. Now this place is an old English lord's manor from the 1800s. It's unbelievably beautiful. If you've seen Downton Abbey, it looks a lot like that. But what this is it's become a Christian retreat center. And so a lot of those kids that we saw at the after-school program come to this for a weekend, and this is where their memories are made. So as we prepped for them, we got to walk around the grounds, but we also got to decorate the place for them and really make it so that this is a special time for them when they come. And preparing this site was not without its physical labor aspects too. We had a couple different big projects that we had to do while we were there. One was that there is a huge wooded area and they had cut down a bunch of branches, and really some of the trees in their entirety had been cut out, and we had to clear that out. So we got together and we just went through those woods and just manhandled all of that brush to get it out of there. I also discovered something called stinging nettles in the woods there, and both Jenna and I got to experience the fun of stinging nettles. I don't recommend it at all. The second project that we had while we were there was to actually clear ivy off of another wooded area. This area full of bigger trees, and they actually have a ropes course and activity places back there, and this is surrounding the nice giant lake they have. But what happens is that the ivy climbs up these trees. It gets so heavy on these trees that those trees are more likely to fall down. And so to avoid that, we've got to clear the ivy. So we went out in full force and ripped that ivy down with whatever tools we could have with our bare hands, just to clear that area out and make it welcome for all the kids as they go and play out there. I mentioned the decorating before, and one of the big things we did was fill up so many inflatables, and we actually came to regret it because they became a bit of a weapon for the students, but they loved it nonetheless. But we had a great time, all just gathering together, getting everything ready for the kids to show up. So after all the preparation, that's when the kids showed up. And this was the absolute highlight of the trip. These kids are beautiful. They're little firecrackers, and they are intense and crazy and fun. But as soon as you show them that you're sticking with them, that hard shell of inner city Dublin kid melts away, and they're so starved for affection that they will be loyal to you until you die. And so that was just so wonderful to be able to invest in these kids and play with them and hang out with them and talk with them. And in the end, we were able to do this great church service with them, sing songs around the campfire, and then just preach the gospel to them. And through it all, just build these relationships that most of these little kids are on Facebook, and so we're all Facebook friends now, and we can talk to each other and interact with each other. And Jenna and I are the fortunate ones that get to go back next year. When we told all of the kids that we're going to get to go back next year, just tears of joy. They were so excited that we get to go back, and that's why we're, again, so thankful for the support that you gave us, is that we're going to be able to do this every few years. We're now that we're in the rotation, and we don't have to raise the funds anymore. We just get to keep enjoying and investing in the Roberts students and in the students in Ireland. And eventually the weekend did come to an end, and we had to head back to Dublin, and the kids had to say goodbye to us as they let us off our bus, and we could see them crying through the windows as we said goodbye. But man, those memories are going to last forever, and we couldn't be more thankful. So eventually it was our last day in Ireland, and we spent the last day being tourists. And so we all boarded up a tour bus and we headed for the countryside, and that's when we really got to see just how gorgeous the country is. It looks like we changed the saturation in all the images, but we didn't. It's really that green, and it's just unbelievably gorgeous. And we got to see castles, we got to climb inside of castles and look down from them, kiss the Blarney Stone. We saw ruins of monasteries and abbeys. We were able to go to just some of the towns in Ireland and walk around and really just enjoy it. And what a beautiful place, both aesthetically, but also the people that are there. And so they have absolutely transformed Jenna and I. And it really is, it's one of those things where you don't think that your heart can be torn in any more ways than it already is. but Ireland has part of our hearts, and we can't wait to go back. And we're just so grateful and excited to see what God has done through us and as an extension of the church. And we just can't wait to keep facilitating that love of Christ in these kids and in those people. So thank you.